and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be giving y'all an update on how my plants are doing after I was away for 3 weeks and they basically didn't have any care at all. So basically I'm just gonna go through and show you everything that's gone on, all the new stuff. I should also say before we get into it properly that when I got home, I almost immediately came and cut off several yellow leaves on my plants, and that is totally normal. Your plants are going to drop some leaves, and especially if I'm not here to cut them off as and when they start to go yellow, that is completely normal. So I did that pretty soon after I got in because once I noticed them, I'm like, I need them out because I feel like they look ugly. So I have done that already, so you're not going to be seeing loads of yellow leaves in this video, but they did happen and it is normal. And I'll insert a picture of my entire pile of yellow leaves because it is totally normal and okay. And so I want everyone to remember that. But before we get into the rest of the updates, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate it. Let's get into it, but also can we appreciate the amount of rainbows here. They're really lovely. I love when my home gets rainbow-fied from all of the rainbow stickers I have on my windows. They're amazing, and it just gives me the vibes. So as long as it can be sunny in the UK, that'd be great. It hasn't been very much since I've been back, but let's just let it stay sunny because it's really nice. Right, let's get into it. I guess we can start off in this corner, which is lush and beautiful and actually doing super duper well. I'm very glad to say my Glorious is doing phenomenally. I think this was the new leaf that was popping out before I left. I seriously need to fill in the pole and like bring this back over so it can hopefully root into the pole and keep growing upwards, but doing really well actually for not being cared after for 3 weeks. And my little dubia down there, oh, if we can focus on that, is putting out new leaf as well. Again, not quite as big as the previous ones, but I feel like that's still to be expected considering I did chop it. So hopefully we can get this one back on track and growing really well. I've also got a new leaf on my variegated monstera. So the new growth points that came out after I chopped both of these top pieces have put out new growth. This one and then the half moon over there. And then the one on this side is also putting out a new leaf, which looks to be very marbly variegation in there, which I think will be fairly similar to this leaf, which is great. I just generally prefer the marble variegation to the half moon, though the half moon is quite nice. I just know these bits die off a lot more. You can see all the leaves that have had half moon variegation before. I've had to chop off the white bits because they've gone all brown. So I have like loads of half leaves in this plant, which I much prefer the like full-on marbliness. Like, ignore the spots. It's making it look even more marbled. My Cebu Blue in the corner has again reached the top of the pole, and instead of cutting it, I think I'm going to need to do something about it. If you've watched my 2024 goals video, I talked about this plant and wanting to get it fenestrated if I possibly can, and I think the first step in that is giving it a new pole, so I might have to chop and extend this one to hopefully keep this sort of bigger growth. It's not huge, but the leaves are a pretty decent size. And if I can get them to grow a bit bigger and fenestrate, that would be awesome. Over here, I have done just the tiniest bit of rearranging. I decided that my Sarcophylla, after showing it in my goals video, needed to be in a more prominent spot. So I have put it next to my Schismatoglottis Willichii. So it's right in front of the TV. I will be seeing it every single day. And I think I'll just give it probably a better chance here than when it was tucked away in the office. I can keep it more of an eye on it and hopefully give it slightly better light. mean, you can't see it right now, but it does get some direct sunlight on it throughout the day, which we love, and I think it would probably like that little bit of light as well. Though it's not too much, because things like my peppermint frost are absolutely fine here and doing much better than when they were in slightly higher light. So I don't quite understand, but apparently it works. I think this is the only plant that actually got watered while I was away, because Joe's parents saw this flash, and I don't know if that means it's getting thirsty, but they thought it meant it was getting thirsty, and so they gave it some water, which is probably good because this one definitely cannot handle 3 weeks without watering. So if any of them were to get watered, I'm glad it was this one. I was planning on telling them that this one needed water if the sensor at any time alerted me that it was below, I think I did 60%. So that is good that this one got watered and didn't get overwatered, because I think sometimes it just blinks orange randomly. So I'm not sure, but it all turned out well in the end. The other weird thing I noticed when I came back is that my terrarium has gone moldy. So it's a bit condensation-y right now, but all of those little dot stuff, that's all mold, and I don't know why. So I'm pretty sure my springtails have died, that's for sure. This Laginella is growing super duper well. It's hard to see because of the condensation, but it's like really filled out, especially I think this is the frost one, and that's the peacock one. Yeah, you can see it's kind of hinting blue a bit, but the red one's almost died off and it's gone super moldy. So any tips on moldy terrariums y'all have, let me know. Do I just scoop out or do I leave it? I really don't want to leave it, but it makes me not like it very much, unfortunately. So not exactly sure what to do with that one. Inside of the cabinet, I definitely had a good chunk of yellowing. I'll insert a picture of what it was looking like. I think I lost maybe 3 leaves on my dragon scale in that time. I think it's because it got dehydrated. I did fill up all the water reservoirs before I went, but it's just something that happens. Plants get dehydrated, and it still has 3 very, very happy leaves and potentially a new one on the way. So I can't be too upset with it. My black velvet is also doing really well. I don't know if this one came out before I left. I think it might have, but it is just so velvety soft. I love it. I haven't checked on my Queen of the Night yet to see if it's rooted, so let's check it together. I don't really see, oh, is that maybe a root? Maybe. I don't really see any roots in here, but I also don't see any new growth, so I think it's fine for now. It's not dead, which is good. As long as it's not dying, I am happy. If they were rotting, we would have a problem, but they're not, so I think we are doing okay with that one. Also, my Hoya crinklate, which half of you probably don't even know I have because I literally never ever show it. I got it as a tiny cutting, and I'm almost positive that it had flat mites, but since I've done the sulfur treatment, it has done quite well and popped out, you can see 4 leaves. I still want to give the entire cabinet another round of sulfur treatment because I know that I did have quite a lot of flat mites in here, but this one has actually started growing since doing the sulfur treatment, so I feel like something has worked. It's clicked into place with this one because I've honestly had it for years and it's done nothing until now. And then down into the bottom half, things are doing okay down here. Nothing all that special. Oh, is that new growth on my regal? Does that look like it's going to pop out? Maybe, maybe not. I am not sure on that one. And I don't think I have any new growth on the Warquianum at the back there either, which I'm not mad at. I still think I want to be moving these ones outside of the cabinet at some point. I guess I could do these ones now that they're not putting out new growth. That might be a wise decision. My Mellow just popped this leaf out, and it is a little bit smaller than the sort of big ones it was having before. Sorry, the sun's kind of come out a bit more on here, but it is still really happy, and I'm just glad that the plant hasn't died off completely because I was worried about that. That happened to my Maharani, so I don't want it to happen to this one as well. And you can get in there and see all the lovely like ridges in there. It is such a cool one. And then at the back, I think my Splendid is starting to root into the pole a little bit. You can see the tiny roots back there. So I believe that this one is going to do so well in 2024. I will probably have to extend the pole very soon because it is quite near the top, but it is doing phenomenally, and I just feel like it's so much healthier now. I do need to spray it in again because all of these leaves have come in since it has been sprayed with sulfur fungicide, but I'm not mad at it. That's pretty much the gist of what's happening down here though. This zone is doing particularly well too. While I was away, this Monstera put out a gorgeous new leaf, which is extremely variegated for this plant, seeing as the previous leaves, they've had bits here and there, but nothing to this level. And I think it is because it is in a much brighter spot than it has been previously, so it is bringing out the variegation in it and some really good fenestrations too. So hopefully I can get this one to do really well. I will probably need to extend this moss pole fairly soon too, but I can do that. It had a double height one before, and I can put it back on that double height again. Before I left, I did give this one a spray of Provanto because I knew it was dealing with thrips. I didn't want to leave it for 3 weeks with nothing, and I suppose I could have sulfur fungicided it again, but I was just very nervous to leave it without someone being able to monitor it, because although Joe's parents were here looking after Cleo, I didn't want to give them loads of extra responsibility to look after my plants too. So I just bit the bullet and used chemical pesticides on this one, and I think one more to make sure that they were doing all right, because I knew that they were definitely suffering from thrips, as opposed to a lot of the other things in my collection. I thought like maybe they'd be dealing with thrips. I haven't noticed thrips on any of these other plants at all, which is great, but I think it is doing well. I haven't seen any thrips on it since. I do need to give it a super thorough look over and like triple check, but I think it is doing much better, and I'm glad it's back in this zone because it was living in the bathroom for a while and I definitely missed it being out in the wild. You're a little rascal, aren't you, baby? Aren't you, baby girl? She's doing well though. I don't think she missed us that much while we were gone, because she did have Joe's parents looking after her. But I missed you, baby, didn't I? You're enjoying the sun too, aren't you? Yeah. So cute, I love you. Yeah. Even though you do make messes. Speaking of messes that Cleo made, so my cast iron plant normally lives over there on that table, but the first night that we were gone, oh yeah, I'm talking about you, the first night we were gone and Joe's dad was staying over, Cleo jumped up on that table to try and get into our bedroom because it's right by our bedroom door, and knocked this whole plant and pot onto the floor. I'll insert a picture that Joe's dad sent us the next morning. I feel so bad that he had to clean this all up, but I'm very glad that Cleo wasn't hurt because this is a heavy ceramic pot. But now, unfortunately, it is ruined. I suppose I could just go like that and you wouldn't be the wiser, but I am quite sad about that. And I don't know if I will put this one back over there. It was absolutely fine living on that table, kind of in the dark, but I also kind of like it where it is now. And because technically cast iron plants are cat safe, I can kind of keep it here and not worry that Cleo's gonna eat it and like poison herself, though she hasn't really gone for it at all. So I might just leave it here. I kind of like it here. Probably have to get it a new pot though, because I don't want anyone cutting themselves on this, especially not Cleo. You little rascal, you. Yeah, it's okay. I still love you. before we move on to the next room, I want to give like the tiniest little haul video because a really nice fellow wanted to give me some plants, and some of them are wish list plants, and so I wanted to share my 4 most exciting ones with you. He also gave me some Hoyas, but they're propping in the cabinet. I don't feel like getting them out. And these, so first off, this chunky Euphorbia Ghost. I have a big one now. Like, I have my little tiny one, but I also have this beautiful big one, and it's like branching out at the top. There's even some new growth there. I am like already obsessed with it. I potted it up yesterday and I'm just like blown away by the beauty of this thing. It's like really chunky and heavy as well. And I'm excited to probably put it in my cacti and succulent cabinet. Probably. I haven't fully decided on that yet, but I am over the moon about this one. He also sent a rat tail cactus. So I think it's kind of similar to the monkey tail cactus in that it's not pokey, but more like soft and you can kind of pet it, but a thinner version, which I have never had one of these before, and it is very fun. Like, he gave me 2 quite decent chunks of this, and I think they're unrooted in here, but I've been able to get jungle cactus to root quite well previously just by putting them in soil and keeping them moist-ish. So that's what I've done with this one. I should say the Euphorbia was rooted as well already, which is awesome. This, which is a Sansevieria Bantel Sensation, a huge blade of this. This is an unrooted cutting, but it is calloused. So I have just popped it in some soil. I'm hoping that works. I have never tried propagating Sansevieria in soil before. I've only ever just recently tried them in water and had that to succeed. So I think it can probably do fine in soil. I just need to keep an eye on it. So I'll probably be keeping it around out here. And then the last one that I'm going to be showing you is another wishlist plant. Look. I've got some variegated Thanksgiving cactus cuttings. And all 3 of these are rooted, but they are a little bit dehydrated. It took a minute for me to pot them up after I got home and saw that they had arrived. I was busy coming back, and so I just potted them up again yesterday. Hopefully they will rehydrate well enough soon, but they are so beautiful. I love that they're coming in a little bit pink, these new leaves. It's just so fun, and this one's got like pretty much half moon variegation on it, this little leaf. So extremely excited about this one, and I am hoping that I'm able to get it to grow well. I'm hoping I can get all of these to grow well, but I just wanted to give you a little bit update on those very exciting new plants that I got as part of this month's updates. So let's carry on. The sun has just started coming in to that window over there, and so it started putting rainbows on the wall, which I am obsessed with. Things in here are doing, I think, pretty well. So my Monstera Standeliana, this is one of the other ones that I Pravantoed before I went away for thrips because I knew it was suffering with them. And I think I've seen one on it since coming back, so I might need to do it again. I really don't know how it got the sort of like mega thrips that it's got on it. And like I find it really hard to actually find them and kill them. It'll be like one here or there. I don't see any babies on it like I normally would. I'm just really struggling to figure this one out, and so that is why I resorted to Pravanto before I left. I feel like that is a fair thing for this, and I would just rather it be pest free, and then I can later go back to pesticide free and the sort of predatory mites. But for now, I just want to get everything in my collection pest free and kind of start over with everything. Like, each new leaf has damage on it. Like, I don't know, and it's weird, and I dislike it and I'm finding it quite frustrating. So if I have to Provento this, I will, and that is okay. My Burley Marks Variegata is doing fantastically. It just put out this new leaf here, which is a bit half moony. I think at the back there are some that are going full moon that I have to take off, like those. That was just basically a full moon leaf that has just died away, which I think is absolutely fine. I'm hoping that this one develops a bit more green. It looks like it's gonna be green, hopefully. Otherwise I'm just gonna have to keep getting gross leaves and chopping it back. But it is doing really well up here. I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to like being on this high shelf, but I feel like it gets okay light in the day. It doesn't get any sort of grow light or anything, but it's still okay. My Pallidiflorum, oh my goodness. Okay, I need to show you the new leaf on this one. Holy cow, okay. This leaf right here is new, that leaf. And that's on the back plant, which is the smaller one, the one with these sort of tiny leaves at the back. It's just put out this gigantic thing. Like, it's nearly as long as some of the leaves on the bigger one at the front, and it's still not hardened off yet. Holy cow, that is so exciting. It was coming in before I left, and so I'm so excited that it is coming in so strong. It does look a little bit pale. I don't know if that's just because it's new, but it's so big and beautiful, and I'm so glad it's happy. In the space above my desk, I've done just the tiniest bit of rearranging. I've put my fishbone cactus down on this shelf just to give it a little bit more room. You can see it is growing up there, and I swapped it with the Crimson Princess, which you can see has that tiny bit of new growth at the top, and I think it being underneath this grow light, which is on for many hours a day, will do it a lot of good. Most of the rest of the things up here are propagations or that I can't reach, so I'm not going to be talking about. I did find a thrip on my fern leaf today, actually, which is really annoying. I feel like this is another one that I might just have to spray with Provento. It's one of the like nasty thrips, the like thick jumbo ones as well, which I do not want to be dealing with, especially on this plant, which is one of my favorites. You can see sort of the damage that's being caused up there. Oh, it's just so annoying. So I might need to wash this one down and Provento it, unfortunately. I also haven't watered the hanging ones yet. They're the only ones in my collection that I've not watered since I've been home, which I think they probably desperately need it. I'm not sure if these were here the last time I did an updates video, but my Black Pagoda lipstick plant is blooming in several different spots. So it's got some flowers there, it's got some over there. It's just doing really freaking well, and the blooms are so cool and like alien-y. They kind of look like weird snails, which I am super here for, and I'm really enjoying watching this bloom. I've never had this one bloom before, so I'm glad it is happy enough to bloom. I think it is loving the sunshine it's currently getting. I'm loving the sunshine I'm currently getting because it has been so cold and dark here in the UK since I got back that getting some sun is amazing. I think things are doing really well in my little acrobar. For the most part, they seem very happy. Unfortunately, my variegated Frydek, I think it might lose this leaf. I think it is still a healthy-ish plant because I have noticed some roots on it. Like, there's definitely some roots in there, but the main leaf has died, so I'm not too sure what needs to happen with that one. I'm hoping that I haven't lost it completely because that would suck. And then the other weird thing, which I very rarely get, is this one. The semi-hydro on it has mold. You can see that on there. None of the other ones in here have that problem. None of the others are moldy, but this one has got mold on it, which is super duper strange. So I might need to strip the top layer of that off and check on it. I don't think it is excessively moist compared to the other ones. I watered all of them the exact same before I went away. It doesn't have like leaf litter on the top, or anything that you would think would mold. It's just gone moldy, and it is very, very strange. So that's something that I'm gonna need to deal with. I think it is somewhat normal, like nothing to be worried about, just annoying more than anything else. My Synapsis exotica, I'm not sure why, but it has gotten some yellow leaves. I took one off the other day. This one's going yellow too. I feel like there were more up here even, which is a little bit concerning because you can see the meter on the pot. It does still have water in it, so I am wondering if it does have some sort of root rot or something. I have not repotted this plant in literal years. I think it was 2020 when I put it into this semi-hydro pot, and it has been the same since, and it is grown like insanity, really. It has grown so well. And so I guess 1 or 2 yellow leaves isn't the worst. So I guess I will just pull it off, but it is annoying because I don't like looking at it when it has yellow leaves. I much prefer the nice big beautiful green ones. I hope they stay because I will be very, very sad when these big beautiful green leaves go away. Another fun, exciting thing that I was able to get when I was in the States was some Arca trellises from Propagation Diaries. They actually sent me some of the clear ones, 4 clear ones, and 2 of these holographic ones, which I'm so excited to put in my plants. The other one, unfortunately, did break in the post. I don't think it's any fault of theirs. It happens every now and then, but I'm planning on using these as stakes anyways, so I can just maybe break off this curvy bit at the bottom or leave it for stability and then use these bits as stakes. And they also sent a bunch of little clippies, which are in a holographic little bag. So I'm so excited to give these a go. I will link them down below in the description if you want to try some of the Arca trellises for yourself, because they're pretty, ooh look, it's reflecting the pink of the packaging. But yeah, I'm so excited because these are like the perfect invisible almost trellises that are really cool looking in my opinion. Nothing major to report on these shelves. Ooh, my Florida Ghost leaf has come in. It is doing really well, and you can see that there's another one on the way. I should probably get this plant into soil and maybe onto a pole. Do Florida Ghosts like poles? I am not sure on that one, but I will double check and potentially put it on one. My Mexicanum props doing very well. There's loads of little ones in there, so I probably need to pot this one up as well fairly soon because I think it needs it. But yeah, I'm really glad I was able to get this one to do well because I pretty much lost that entire thing from Rare Plant Shop, Kaylee Ellen's shop. And then what else? I am still absolutely freaking loving this little felt leaf plant. It's really starting to come into its own with the little spiky leaves, and I know they get so much bigger, so I'm excited to continue watching it grow. I am going to continue leaving it by the grow light there, which is pretty much always on, and I hope that it will like that. And I'm just really proud that I was able to propagate this one because I've not been great at propagating succulents in my time. It's one of my more difficult things, so I am very proud of myself for getting this one working and getting a little felt bush going. So cute. Felt bush. On the middle shelf, again, not much happening. I think there's just like loads of stuff that I need to pot up, like this. Oh, is this a Pearls and Jade pothos, I think, or leopard? I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can see it's got a decent root in there, so it is ready to go. I've just been leaving so many things in here propping in moss, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but they seem to be adequately happy, and I can pot them up in the new year and see how they do. And then on top of the Rudsta, before I went away, I did a big wipe of this with isopropyl alcohol, pretty much everything here except for the Sansevieria metallica, because these plants did have spider mites. and I think it has worked. I haven't given it a super duper thorough inspection yet, but it doesn't look like it's getting any more damage than it had before. I know the alocasia had it really, really bad, the alocasia poly. This here is the old spider mite damage on the plant. You can see the speckles from where they've kind of sucked the sap out of everything. But there is no more webbing in there, and I genuinely don't see any more spider mites, so that is awesome. And the Ficus Scheveriana Moonshine did have some pretty bad damage on it as well, but I don't really see any. And the new leaves are coming in super well, very, very pink. I have this Grow Gang light on almost all of the time. I've turned it off to film because the light is just slightly nicer like this, but this whole area is pretty constantly getting a lot of bright grow light, which for the Scheveriana is very good. I think it's probably a little bit too much for the poly back there, so we'll see what happens with these ones. I'm just really glad that the Scheveriana is doing well again because I really, really love this ficus. It's so pretty. My Branchifolia Pink Passion has also put out a new leaf. I chopped off its only leaf here, which I should probably take this petiole off, but it has put out a new leaf since, and it is looking so much healthier, and it doesn't have any pests on it anymore, which is brilliant. As far as I know, I don't see any. There doesn't seem to be any signs of any. So I am so glad that I've kind of been able to revive this one. Once I remove this and it grows a couple more leaves, it'll kind of be back to where I got it at, which would be awesome because I do think it is a really, really funky alocasia. So different from all of the other alocasia I have in my collection. And then going into the Rudsta, the little cactus cabinet, I honestly don't think there is much to update in here at all. Things are just chugging along. They don't really change that much. They're much more slow growing than I'd say like my aeroids are. But my dead stick plant, oh my goodness, do you see how tall it has gotten? Pretty much everywhere above the green, I believe, is new growth, which I think it is doing fantastically. And the little top bits on my African milk tree are also coming in hot right now, which is brilliant. And ooh, are these getting better? I don't know. I don't want to touch my Opuntia because it's freaking sharp, but my Opuntia is definitely growing in here, and I think it is growing a bit better. This is like definitely looking much more round than atoliated, which it was kind of going a bit atoliated before, and so if I can get it to grow a bit more round, that would be awesome. But otherwise, nothing really else to report in here. In this section, I unfortunately had to cut off one of the leaves on my crystallinum. The one at the back, it was one of the big yellowing leaves that happened. I also think it might have gotten dehydrated during the time I was away because it's put out this leaf. It was coming in before I left, but it has gone such a weird shape, which I feel like I can only attribute to dehydration. It's just growing really weird. I think I do need to put the light on in this corner more often. I've kind of been keeping it off lately, but I do think this corner probably needs it quite desperately. Other than that, not that much is happening. My cream splash, which I literally never show y'all, is doing pretty well considering I basically ignore it. I think I want to take it off of this pole and let it trail because I really like the vibe of it trailing down, and it's got really decent variegation in there with the cream, so I feel like I would just rather it trailing than climbing, so I might transition it to that and take some propagations to kind of start this plant over because I've kind of just been ignoring it for far too long, and I feel quite bad for it, honestly. Not really much going on this side. My banana plant is doing fine as usual. A leaf came out fairly recently and it's got another new one on the way. It always does. I feel like this one pops out leaves pretty constantly. And my Mitchellitiana, I feel like I need to stake up. So I did, you can see, band it together so it's less widespread, but I feel like I need to stake it up so that it sits nicer, because otherwise, like, I get that it's pointing towards the window and the light, I get that, but it does just kind of lean over quite a lot. It is quite top heavy, this one, so either I need to make these stems a little bit longer, these petioles, or prop it up. But I think propping it up would be the easier of the two options. So that is it. That is everything going on in my collection right now after being away for 3 weeks and my plants basically having no care. I am honestly a little bit astounded that I didn't lose anything during this time. I was expecting maybe 1 or 2 losses, so like 1%, less than 1% of the collection to have a bit of a fit while I was gone, but nothing went wrong at all, and I am so glad that that was the case, because it would have been very sad had I lost something. So yeah, I'm really proud of my plants. I feel like it goes to show how resilient plants are, especially in wintertime. They don't need that much. They can tolerate a lot. I watered them right before I went away and then right away when I got back, and they seem to be absolutely happy with that. So yeah. That is it for today's video. If you liked it, can you please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If I mentioned anything in here that you want to know more about, let me know down below in the comments, and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to keep growing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!